Hello ladies, gentlemen and noblars. In this video I want to ask you, the community, a question. What is the worst mistake you've ever seen a GM make? And what sort of consequences did it have on the game or the group? Now I want to compile all of these things together so that we can together make a user warning experience for other GMs to look at and say, well, ooh, okay, I'll be mindful of that. I'll try and make sure I don't do that. We've all had some experience and I'm sure we've all got a story to tell. A reply video would be even better, if not a comment. So here comes my one, and this might help set the ball rolling. In a Warhammer fantasy roleplay game we did, our GM, he was fairly new to GMing, and what he did was he made the mistake of giving the group too much experience for certain encounters. There were just a few things where he made that decision at the table, and I think even some of the players were a bit, ooh, wow, we're getting that much experience for doing that, and it was something that they've maybe conquered a bit easier than they should have as well. But because the concept of it was a hard encounter in his head, and he awarded us an awful lot, and him doing that enough unfortunately broke the dynamic of the game, because Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is supposed to be a very, very difficult game to play. It's supposed to be very challenging. The old world's very, very hard to live in, and it's supposed to be very easy to die there. Unfortunately, this gave the group a little bit too much experience. And what this ended up doing was, for the book content, it ended up putting their experience levels of the group far too ahead of any book content they can then run. So then we feel uncomfortable trying to do any of the supplemental books content, and then it's a case of the GM's probably going to have to come along and alter everything. You can't just have the ease of being able to just come along and say, well, I'll just run it from the book as is, I don't have time to write something this month. So you can see there that it put the group into quite a pickle and made them actually reluctant to want to use their characters because they're too powerful too quickly. It's about enjoying the journey, isn't it? And you'll see a lot of role players, when they talk about systems like D&D, they talk about the sweet spot, don't they? Where the game's difficulty and challenge level, for the level of the characters, is just right. The longer it can be a challenge, the better. Yes, there's a chance that your characters might die, but if you come through the odds and don't die, well, that's great. And if they do die, well, what does it matter? It's not you, is it? It's just a character. You can always just roll something again. And also consider this. You're going to play other role-play games and systems anyway. So what happens to that one character is not imperative to you as a role player completely for your career, now is it? The other thing that this GM did, of course, was to give the party far too powerful magic items as well, and we started getting these things loaded, and he started creating his own, and unfortunately he wasn't experienced enough as a GM to really adequately do that, and then it gets to the point where players are actually being awarded magic items. Players getting them, they should normally be jumping for joy. Yeah, I've just got a magic item, this sword is amazing, oh my god, right? But instead, when you've got players that are saying, I actually don't think this should exist, and they are actually, they don't think their character should even be getting it, you know something's wrong. What warnings can you give for the outset for any potential GM mistakes and hiccups? I'll be looking forward to hearing.